Rightio, welcome to Crictalk. As always, I'm PK, and join with me is my colleague and cricket expert, Jace.
Yeah, cheers, PK. It's good to be here. What do you got for us today?
Yep, so we'll be looking at the latest New Zealand versus Pakistan. That series is just wrapped up. If you guys want to find us, you can check us out at YouTube. That's at Crictalk Live.
Cool. Alrighty. Obviously this New Zealand-Pakistan series was only two ODIs in build-up to the World Cup. New Zealand successful in both ODIs. So tell us about the first ODI, PK. How'd that one go?
Yep, so New Zealand won the toss. They chose to have a field, and it paid off for them in the end. Straight in there, you had Mohammed Hafiz gone there for a duck. Not very happy with that, I wouldn't presume. You also had Ahmed Shazad, who didn't really get going. He only scored the 15 runs there. And Yunus Khan, also disappointing with only the 9 runs. They then fought back. Misbah al-Haq, 58 runs there. The economy rate not as good though, or the strike rate should I say, at only 66 there, Jace. So not much momentum there from the Pakistanis.
No, I felt Pakistan were very disappointing. You can also put that up to the New Zealanders bowling. I think New Zealand bowled quite well, put Pakistan under a lot of pressure. So I think Pakistan do have a lot of work to do for the World Cup. So who was impressive in the ODI in the New Zealand side, PK?
Right, so you had Martin Guptill who opened there. He scored 39 runs, which was quite good from him. Him needing to come into a bit of that form of how he was a year ago, Jason. McCullum would be pretty disappointed with his 17 there, and Latham also a little bit unlucky with only scoring 23 runs. But then you had big guys like Ross Taylor coming in and scoring 49 runs, and Grant Elliott there backing it up with a 64. So a good batting spell by the New Zealanders, Jace.
Yeah, well, I absolutely agree. Of course, McCullum was a bit unlucky there. I'm not sure what he's doing. I think in the last ODI he sort of made up for it, but since he scored that century against Sri Lanka, he hasn't really done a lot. I'm not calling him to be dropped or anything. I still think it's class. I still think he deserves to be captain. Still deserves to be there, but I think he's got a bit of work to do in terms of his form, PK.
Yeah, he sure does. I mean, you look at guys like Kane Williamson and also Ronke and Elliott who are on top form. You've also got Ross Taylor there coming into some late form. So you really think, can they carry that form into the cup there?
Yeah, well, I absolutely think they can. Of course, now if we move on to the second ODI now, of course, talking about carrying on that form, Taylor and Williamson both pick up tons. With Guptill carrying on that sort of form that he picked up in the first ODI, scored 76 from 88 balls. Very successful. Taylor's century coming off only 70 balls, and Williamson's 112 off 88 balls. So what I'm seeing from these New Zealand batsmen is they're aggressive, but it's controlled aggressive. I think that's a real asset to have in their team. In terms of the bowling, you got well, if we can just revisit that debate we had earlier on a couple of episodes ago about Vittori versus Nathan McCullum. Vittori picked up 41 runs for 1 wicket from 10 overs, and Nathan McCullum got 33 runs for 2 wickets from 5 overs. So what are your thoughts on that? Because Dan Vittori was really economical, yet he only took 1 wicket, and Nathan McCullum was quite expensive. So what are your thoughts on that? What's more important, PK?
Well, I definitely think both of them are, Jace, to be honest. I mean, you could always play Vittori in one match and perhaps play McCullum in another. So you really can, I feel, with those two guys, you can really mix it up a little bit and it won't cost them too much. It really all depends on if they need to come in with the bat, I think, there, Jace. What are your thoughts on Vittori and McCullum having to step up with the bat? You reckon they can give it a knock?
Oh, absolutely. In that first, the 7th ODI against Sri Lanka, Dan Vittori really showed that he still got it with the bat, scoring, I can't remember what he scored, it was almost 40. And of course we know what Nathan McCullum's capable of, hitting a big 6 in the last match. So I think they do know which end of the bat to hold. They do know how to bat well. But just going back to that bowling argument, what do you think's more important, wicket taking or economy in an ODI?
Well, it really depends, Jace. I mean, you feel that if you're at the tail end, you really want to take those wickets and seal the victory there. But you also feel that having that economy rate in those death overs could really affect the game.
Yeah, well, that's right. Dan Vettori's always going to bowl 1 for 40 or 0 for 40. An interesting player now that I want to talk about is Grant Elliott. Wasn't even in the side 2 months ago, and now all of a sudden he's shining with the bat and ball. I got his last 5 scores here. 28, 64 not out, 24, 21 not out, and 104 not out. And if we have a look at the ball, his bowling skills, we got 2 for 35, 3 for 26, 0 for 24, 0 for 12, and 2 for 42. So Grant Elliott's obviously found his form. So do you think we can secure him in the number 5 spot permanently for the World Cup, PK?
Well, I think definitely he deserves it. I mean, he's shown his form and he's proved he can bowl and bat as well, which you'd want from an all-rounder. So definitely, I think we'll see much more of him to come. I'd like to touch on the New Zealand bowling, Jason. Do you think we might possibly see a little bit of a rotation going on during the Cup in this bowling lineup?
Yeah, I absolutely do think that. Mike Hesson, when asked if he's got a best 11, has said he does not have a best 11. Of course, you got the likes of Bolt, Southey, McClenaghan, Milne in rotation. Mills, of course, add into that. I don't know if you could choose a best 11 from that. So yeah, I absolutely do think we'll see a lot of rotation, particularly against those affiliate teams. And I don't know if that'll hamper the team either, because as we saw in Pakistan and the UAE, the bowlers were still successful even though we had that rotation game going. Now, with these ODIs, I just want to talk about the consistency of Misbah al-Haq. Scored 45 and 58 in these 2 ODIs. He's been the shining light, and that's how he's always going to be. So do you think he can carry that on to the World Cup, PK?
Well, definitely. I mean, the Pakistani openers in that match really did get away quite nicely, and then Misbah al-Haq there adding a little bit of momentum to the chase, but you just feel it's not really gonna. Is that really going to be enough? Is the one-man team going to work for them? I don't think so, Jace.
Well, that's right. You've also got Shahad Afridi in there who adds in a little bit of late hitting. Of course, we saw that in the first ODI. Scoring a century off 21 balls, I think it was. So yeah, they're not they've got quite a bit of talent in the batting, but it's not shining at all, is it? Also another man I want to mention there is Muhammad Irfan. He's going well. Picked up 2 for 52 from his 10 overs. So he's really the only one that performed with the ball. So what are your thoughts on Pakistan's bowling attack going into the World Cup?
They were quite expensive in this series, I felt, but they definitely do have the talent. They got really nice seam bowlers there, so hopefully for their sake they can pull through. One thing I would like to revisit, Jace, is what are your thoughts on New Zealand's opening bowlers when they do open? I felt also in that Sri Lankan series with the New Zealand bowlers, they were just letting those opening batsmen get away a bit too much.
Yeah, well, I do agree with you there, PK. I think Bolt is not the same bowler he is as he is in tests and ODIs. But I think that if New Zealand can solidify a good opening bowling combination, I think that we will be extremely dangerous. But yeah, I do think a lot of our bowlers are expensive in those opening overs, and let the openers get away, which is not very good in an ODI. Right, final thoughts on New Zealand-Pakistan series, PK?
Yep, good result for New Zealand there. Pakistan will be a little bit disappointed, but overall I think New Zealand clearly the favourites over those 2 in the Cup. So yeah.
Cool, right, moving on. You've got the Australia-England tri-series has just wrapped up. Australia was very successful in that match. finishing off 278 for 8, and then restricting England to 166. Glenn Maxwell starred with the bat and ball, scoring 95 from 98 balls with the bat, and with the ball was 4 for 46 from his 9 overs. So Glenn Maxwell has really found some form, hasn't he, PK? What do you think about Glenn Maxwell?
Well, Glenn Maxwell, I feel he was really, he didn't really shine as much as he would have liked in the Big Bash there. But yeah, definitely he seems to be going all right for the Australians. So I think he'll be one of those key players to watch out for in that Australian side in the World Cup, Jace.
I absolutely agree with you there. Now, I just want to briefly talk about England. Bowled out for 166, Ravi Bopara top scoring for a dismal 33 from 59 balls. Second highest score, Moeen Ali scored 26. But it's their bowlers that are really interesting for me. I find that they are the ones carrying the team. Broad picked up 3 for 55 from his 10 overs, and Anderson got 2 for 38 from his 10 overs. So I think England have got some good bowling talent, and if their batsmen could carry that on, I think that they could be successful in the World Cup. What are your thoughts on that?
Yep, definitely. I don't think England really have much of a chance competing against teams like Australia and South Africa, but who knows? Maybe they could be a dark horse in this competition, Jace. So yeah.
I absolutely agree there. Also, I just want to quickly touch on the Australian captaincy debacle. Obviously, Michael Clarke is injured. Steve Smith has taken over, I suppose. Now, what's really interesting for me is they're talking about Steve Smith staying as the full-time captain. But what I find really sad about this is there are players commenting about Michael Clarke, if he should be in the squad. I think that's just disgraceful. You would not see that in the Black Caps. You wouldn't see it in the South African cricket team. You wouldn't see it in rugby or anything else. So, what do you think about that?
Well, exactly, Jace. As you mentioned, they're taking it back to rugby. I feel the New Zealanders are completely different, like the All Blacks are completely different to the Australian side. They just have a completely different mentality. And you feel with the Australian sides, they always seem to have that, they always seem to be, like, they don't have that team ethic. They always want to be competing over those spots. Well, that's how I feel anyway, Jace.
Well, no, that's right, isn't it? Also, do you think Australia can win a World Cup? If they keep going at this, PK?
Well, I think they definitely can, despite all this stuff that's going on. If they perform well on the day, they got the home turf advantage. So I think, yeah, definitely they'll be one of the favourites.
I've got to disagree with you there, PK, respectfully. I think that unity is extremely important. In a team, I think, obviously, I agree with you when you said if they turn up on the day, but I don't know if that could carry it on to their to the finals, the semi-finals. So, what do you think about that, PK?
Well, I think they're definitely gonna be there in those finals, Jace. They've just had such good form, and there's no reason why they can't make those finals. So, I really do think they're going to be in that final, Jace, against South Africa.
Against South Africa, you've called it. That's the big call here. Australia are looking good for the World Cup, but again, I don't think they'll go very far if they are all up in arms against each other. Right. Very quickly, I want to just mention the fantasy World Cup that the ICC are running. So if you want to find that, just go on to www.fantasy.icc-cricket.com or go onto the ICC page. Have you made your fantasy team, PK?
Well, I sure have, and I'm not giving away any secrets, I'll tell you that now.
Great. Yeah, me too. I got a few secrets up there. Now, you want to say something about the World Cup, PK?
Yep, just quickly, I'm going to ask Jace this really quick question. Jace, that first game, New Zealand versus Sri Lanka, who have you got?
Oh, well, I think that if Sri Lanka can turn up on the day, if Malinga's back, well, then I believe that they can that they will be competitive. I don't know if they can carry on of course, with the recent form, but we'll see how they go in the warm-up matches, and we'll see how they go. I'm pretty confident that my Black Caps will be victorious on the day, but we'll see. What do you think, PK?
Well, actually, I think it's gonna be close, but I'm gonna put $1 on Sri Lanka there, Jace.
Okay, so awesome. Right, is that all you got for us, PK?
Yep. This has been Crick Talk. I'm PK, and that's Jace. Bye for now.
Cool.